And we just be going left and right.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what about Instagram from here? Oh,
We'll go on Instagram.
if you log into Instagram here.
Yes.
Hello? 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 Yes? Yes? Okay. What is the agenda? You did not tell me the agenda today. Okay. Let me check that. There's agenda on that. Do see it. Check. The one of you shared for, is it applicable to today again?
She says it.
Okay. Yes, yes, yes. You have it right.
Yes. 9:30 arrival of guests, networking, and 10 to 10:05. Introduction and housekeeping rules. And 10:05 to 10:10. Opening remark. Margaret, you lead.
You have opened the other slide. Huh? How many slides did she say?
She said one slide.
Only one slide.
No, it's
Okay.
plenty inside.
Oh, this one not really needed.
This system needs to restart, and this restart is going to take.
I want to restart it.
You've allowed it to enter red now, so it's going to take plenty time.
Red.
Yes, if we see on yellow,
You mean the battery?
yes, no, this restart icon. If we see on yellow, still okay, but you've allowed it to reach red.
So that's why it's not browsing. It's not
Like
even
there are so many updates on it.
I'm trying not information.
They don't make us co-host, but I'm trying to pin a particular screen.
Okay, let me tell you.
Okay.
Hmm?
I think
Have they made us co-hosts?
I don't know.
Hmm?
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Can you and they should make us co-host. Mm.
Are we presenter? Because I'm just seeing
Do I have okay. Okay. Okay.
OPS on
So this one, it has not even accepted it.
I put it into that of it's -1. It's short one. In front of it too. Hello? Mr. John, I bet you church. Don't go. Okay. One event today. The camera person, that's why I didn't call my laptop. I'm going to my friend to call and say, hello? Chinwe, you did church? When you go church? You know anybody will go to church like now? You know the what of hope? You say go market. What of hope? Thank you. Hello, Mr. Good morning. You did church? You know anybody with the church like now? Who?
Good morning, all. Apologies. We'll be starting in about a minute. At 10:20 sharp. Apologies, we're behind time a bit. So we'll start in about a minute time.
So how are you going to move this slide?
Now next it. I'll be next in it. This is why people don't use Teams for it. Because if you're not the one starting the meeting, you won't be able to. Can you tell her to let me join on my phone so I'll see what's going on? There's no other character like that.
What do you want to join from here?
I need to open OBS.
OBS.
Also,
Good morning again.
Instagram.
OBS.
We are starting the session now. First, I would like to welcome you all to the 4th Annual Cybersecurity Conference of American Business Council. To commence today, I will just begin with a brief housekeeping rules. I think generally, those are the exit doors are actually behind the hall. We think those it's important everyone knows where the exit doors are in case of anything. Secondly, we will try to ensure we stick to time. The timing, the restrooms are outside by the elevator in case you need to use them during the meeting. For people online, we will please ask that you keep your mic muted so as not to cause distractions during the meeting. Chat box could be used for comments and questions during the event. I would start now by calling Mrs. Margaret Olele, the Chief Executive Officer of American Business Council, to start with the opening remarks.
Yes. Yes.
Almost like, should we clap, should we not clap? That's fine.
Yeah,
so we are running the behind schedule, so I'll keep it short.
Hello.
Just like to welcome
everyone. You are saying what you want to say.
Here. And to say that this is the first time we're having an in-person cybersecurity conference. This started 4 years ago in conjunction with the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, the Office of the National Security Advisor, and other partners. So we're excited that we're now seeing people in the flesh, as we can always say sometimes, and the whole idea about having a cybersecurity conference is more than ever critical now. When we think about the gaps that we have, even in terms of the persons who are experts in this area, and the level and quantum of challenges we have in terms of cyber attacks. Almost every other week, this week I heard something again that happened in the US. So it goes on, and we are very vulnerable in the continent. So we must continue with these conversations, and I'm happy that everyone is there. I believe that we have great experts that would work with us and share their insights and move forward. And also thank you STD and all the other wonderful partners. This is not the end of the event. So don't almost like I'm already thanking you. But yes, so we'll continue. Thank you so much.
No, Krishna.
Thank you, Ms. Olele. We will just go directly into the program. As Ms. Olele said, it's good to see everybody in person after such a long while. So we'll move straight to the keynote speech, which will be taken by Mr. Bashir Shaibu. He's the Special Assistant to the President on ICT and Digital Skill Support. Sorry, Special Assistant to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Before you think of American Business Council. Mr. Shaibu is an accomplished IT professional. He has over 25 years of experience across banking, finance, oil and gas, telecommunications and infrastructure, as well as information security in Nigeria. During his career, he has held various managerial roles, demonstrating his expertise in strategic IT management, innovation, and business process improvement. His passion lies in leveraging technology to drive efficiency and solve complex business challenges. In his capacity as a special assistant to the President on ICT and Digital Skill Support, he is leading initiatives to enhance national ICT infrastructure, develop digital skills, and foster innovation, thus contributing to the country's broader digital transformation agenda. So I would like to welcome Mr. Bashir Shaibu, who will be speaking on securing Africa's digital future Harnessing AI for resilient cybersecurity in the age of transformation.
I think you can connect to that your side then, but it's connecting to my own. Whether this one is not strong enough. SY plus QUT.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. I'll observe all protocol, and it's really an honor and privilege to be in the midst of such great minds today. I've been asked to deliver the keynote speech at this cybersecurity conference. So here it goes. I hope I wouldn't bore you people, but let's put the best that we can and get things working. So good morning once again, distinguished cybersecurity experts, professionals, leaders, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor and privilege to address this gathering of minds dedicated to safeguarding our digital future. I want to speak on a topic that calls for the urgent need to secure our evolving landscape. That will be securing Africa's digital future and harnessing AI for resilient cybersecurity in the age of transformation. The world is currently experiencing a remarkable and unparalleled technological and digital transformation, unlike anything we've ever witnessed before. The emergence of big data and AI is disrupting and questioning established development paradigms, paving the way for complete metamorphosis of our digital landscape. These futuristic systems will possess remarkable attributes and become incredibly valuable assets for our global economy. Although we're yet to fully realize this transformation potential, it appears increasingly evident that we are inexorably progressing towards a future characterized by conscious and highly intelligent systems propelled by the power of artificial intelligence. This inevitable evolution will redefine the very fabric of our existence, forever altering the way we interact with and harness the potential of technology. This imminent and groundbreaking revolution will also establish a profound connection between AI and cybersecurity, forming an inseparable bond that will shape the future of technology. We live in an era where AI is revolutioning how we design, build, ladies and gentlemen. As we may all be aware, AI can both be our greatest tool and also our greatest challenge. On one hand, AI enhances our ability to detect and mitigate cyber threats, allowing us to predict and prevent attacks with more accuracy than ever before. While on the other hand, AI in the hands of bad actors can be used to launch more sophisticated attacks, probing the vulnerabilities of our digital infrastructure. Cybersecurity professionals are the vanguard of this new frontier and have a critical role to play in this discourse. As AI becomes the backbone of modern infrastructure, it's paramount that resilient security must be built alongside. Whether it's securing AI-driven transportation networks, preventing malicious attacks, or protecting the vast amount of data AI systems generate, cybersecurity must be integrated into every stage of AI-driven infrastructure development. The solution lies in building a robust, secure foundation for AI. We must ensure that our critical infrastructure is resilient, adaptable, and protected by advanced security measures. This means investing in AI-driven security systems, developing regulatory frameworks that mandate cybersecurity best practices and foster international cooperation to combat cybercrime. As we move forward on this path, we must always place ethics and trust at the heart of our AI systems. AI should be transparent and accountable. Our citizens must trust that the data driving these systems is secure and that their privacy is protected. To achieve this, we need constant innovation, shared intelligence, and collaboration across government, industries, and the academia. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as you may be aware, the current administration acknowledged the quantum of work to be done and appointed competent hands to lead Nigeria's AI revolution. It is no surprise that the Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, spearheading the development of national AI and launched the AI research scheme, leading to the selection of Nigeria as part of the $100 million global partnership to leverage AI for national development and innovation. In addition, the Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology has also declared artificial intelligence as key to Nigeria's quest for development, rallying an AI-focused collaboration in research and innovation. The truth is, to build the cybersecurity continent, we need to invest in AI, not just for productivity and utility, but also all phases of defense. AI can help us predict, detect, and neutralize threats faster than human possible. Machine language algorithms can identify anomalies in real time, flagging potential breaches before they occur. Moreover, AI-powered simulations can expose vulnerabilities, allowing us to fix weaknesses before they are exploited by malicious actors. Conventional security safeguards rely on static defensive parameters, and incomplete infrequent threat intelligence to secure complex networks. This strategy has proven to be inadequate, allowing a rising flood of increasingly sophisticated and damaging attacks to achieve their goals. However, output from AI applications can connect unprecedented patterns, correlate information from billions of sources, grasp opportunities at the microsecond time frame available before an attack occurs, and make predictive analysis to help organizations foresee and detect the cyber attack before it happens. As digital transformation progresses swiftly, AI could emerge as the cornerstone of defensive cybersecurity. As AI continues to evolve and play an increasingly prominent role in cybersecurity, it is important to understand how we can harness this transformative technology, especially as we need to meet the evolving challenges of trust, security, and privacy. The key elements identified below will be crucial to the development of trusted, secure, and privacy-preserving AI. These include, but not limited to, technical best practices, robust standards and policies, strong safeguards, and accompanying penalties. Policymakers, researchers, and engineers across our continent's borders must work cooperatively to ensure the security and resilience of AI systems. In partnership, they should identify best practices beyond the minimum legal requirements, enforce strong penalties that guard against harm during AI design. For the impact to be effective, agreements on mutual cooperation frameworks should be put in place to accommodate each other's sovereignty, especially where certain concerns may not be universally recognized and accepted. Ladies and gentlemen, while acknowledging the professionalism and experts in the Office of the National Security Advisor, NIDA, NDPC, ICT and security agencies, technology and cybersecurity professional workforce in Nigeria, it is pertinent to mention that the responsibility of these bodies has never been more crucial. They will build the guidance of this new age of digital transformation, and as we move to a future where AI will power our industry, they will ensure that our progress is secure, sustainable, and inclusive. Let us embrace the synergy of AI and infrastructure, but remain ever vigilant to the cyber security challenges it presents. Together, we will ensure a safer, smart, and more secure world for generations to come. With the growing demand for AI products and legacy of tolerating low visibility in data governance systems, Africa can contribute to the ethical dialogue around AI transparency, fairness, accountability, and lawfulness in the field of cybersecurity in a robust and impactful manner. We must do this because the future is uncertain. However, this uncertainty should not deter us. Instead, we must adopt a strategy that balances the risk of uncertain future with Africa's tremendous potential in AI development. At the same time, we must develop policies and ethical guidance that not only promote AI innovation, but also ensure that these technologies are deployed responsibly. Together, we can leverage AI to build a resilient and secure future, one that not only protects us from cyber threats, but as a continent strengthens us in the face of volatility. Let me conclude by congratulating the board, management, and stakeholders of the American Business Council for hosting this successful 4th edition of the Cybersecurity Conference. We hope and pray for another successful event next year and many years to come. Thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Shuaibu, for actually the insightful remarks on telling us, making us realize that with all the potential of AI, there's still a lot of challenges that, we also have to look out for. And basically to ensure that we look at how to mitigate these challenges, to ensure we have a safe digital space. Going on to the next thing on the agenda will be the first panel, which is titled Harmonizing African Cybersecurity Policies and its Impact on Digital Transformation. We have brought together a group of experts to actually speak on this topic. And I will start by introducing them. I will start with the moderator, who is Mr. Femi Madariola. Apologies, I hope I got the name correctly. So Femi leads the Intelligent Automation and Cybersecurity practice in PwC Nigeria. He's an experienced consulting and risk manager with a demonstrated history of working in the accounting industry. He has vast experience in providing different assurance services, which include but not limited to internal and external audit, revenue assurance, data and analytics, intelligent automation, general IT controls assessment, data analysis in business processes, financial risk, and enterprise risk management. We can see it's a lot. I think I'm even getting dizzy just mentioning it all. He is an accomplished chartered accountant with in-depth understanding of the business environment, having worked with clients across various sectors, and has specialization in IT risk assurance. Please could we welcome Mr. Madariola to the stage, please. Next on the panel, who is actually joining us virtually, is Colonel Dr. Bala Fakundu. He's the Acting Director of Communications at the Office of the National Security Advisor. He holds a PhD from the University of Leeds, UK, an MSc in Cybersecurity, and an MSc in Combustion Engineering from the University of Leeds. He has served as Research Fellow at the Energy Research Institute, University of Leeds, and is a professional military officer with Nigerian Army Signals. Mr. Cornell, I guess you're on. He's online. So thank you, Cornell, for joining us. So next, our next panelist, as I had explained, it's a very rich panel. So we are going from the military to consulting. The next panel is Mr. Joshua Egba. He serves as the U.S. Trade and Development Agency country representative, where he provides program support and contributes to strategic planning and business development in the West African region. He's a member of the agency's healthcare and agribusiness sector teams. Mr. Egba was a business consultant providing technical support. He holds a Master of Science degree in International Business and a Bachelor of Science degree in economics from the University of Jos. Mr. Egba, please to the stage. Thank you. So we've gone international now. Yes. Then next is Ikechukwu Ibewuchi. Ikechukwu leads government affairs at Cisco Nigeria. He's a lawyer who has experience in government relations, regulatory, and public policy advocacy. He has a wealth of experience from working on committees on trade, digital inclusion, and ease of doing business. So, Mr. Ikechukwu, please. Thank you. And next, who would also be joining us online is George Kisaka. George Kisaka is the Information Security Governance Risk and Compliance Specialist at Yellow Card. He's passionate about helping organizations secure their technology landscapes while optimizing business operations. He has a proven track record of delivering actionable insights that influence both technology and business leaders, particularly within the financial services and fintech sectors, to make decisions that safeguard their technology investments. His experience spans providing advisory and assurance services, implementing best practices in risk management, and enhancing cybersecurity governance. George is joining us online from Kenya. So thank you, George, for joining us. And the last person on this panel is Mrs. Noye Ujam. So Noye is the Director of Government Affairs at Microsoft, covering Nigeria and other emerging markets across Africa. Her role entails engaging stakeholders on digital transformation and AI, including data protection and privacy matters. Prior to joining Microsoft, she worked in development financing, designing and implementing initiatives, schemes, and programs to address identified development, finance, and financial inclusion gaps in Nigeria, working very closely with local and international stakeholders. She's a seasoned professional with a wealth of experience in various sectors. She possesses a Master of Liberal Arts degree at Harvard University, an MSc in Computing, IT, and Management from King's College, University of London, and BSc in Computer Science. And she has over 17 years work experience. You see, there's gender balance here. So, Noye, please go on. Thank you very much. I would now be handing over to our moderator.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. So to kick it off, as Africa undergoes its digital transformation journey, robust cybersecurity is extremely important, and that's why we are all here. So during our panel this morning, we will examine the regulatory challenges, the strategies for unification, and the need for regional collaboration. The challenges that we brought out, and at the end of the day, we will be better for it in terms of our digital economy in Africa. So going straight into it, we'll just do the easy part of asking them the questions, right? And they will do the difficult part. So going straight into it, George, I'll start with George. That is virtual. So securing Africa's cyberspace has a lot to do with the regulatory environment. However, we've noticed across the continent that there seems to be different various approaches to cybersecurity policies and strategies. So, George, can you share some examples of the gaps and inconsistencies and suggest a framework that can foster the unification of policies and strategies that will help in the growth of digital economy in Africa? George, over to you.
Thank you, Femi, and allow me to write on the protocols that have already been established and say from wherever you're joining us, good morning, good afternoon. In my case, it's already afternoon. Yeah, thank you for the question. Are we good? Sound? I was getting some feedback.
Yes, George, please go ahead.
Okay, cool. So yeah, thank you for the question and for pointing us to the gaps. Now, I think there's many, but I'll mention just a few. And the first one that comes to mind of course, is the disparity in the enactment of cybersecurity laws across the continent. So we have 54 odd countries on the continent, and we are trying to secure the cybersecurity landscape on the continent as Africa. But if you look at the cybersecurity laws in the different countries, there's a very huge disparity. Some nations have enacted comprehensive policies and laws, while others still lack clear legal frameworks. For instance, Nigeria has the Cybercrimes Act. I think South Africa has the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act. In Kenya, we have the Computer Misuse and Cybersecurity Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, and so on and so forth. But there are some countries on the continent that have nothing at all in that space. So it becomes very difficult then, from a regulatory standpoint, and looking at Africa as a whole, to rein in, or rather to have oversight over all these countries. The second thing is, even with the laws in the different countries, like the three I've mentioned, and many others on the continent, there's a big challenge when it comes to implementation. And this is caused by the inconsistencies in understanding of the implementation of these laws. So laws, by and of themselves, are written with a lot of legalese and legal language, and that then gives cybersecurity professionals a challenge in just, coming up with a standard way or a standard understanding of what is expected of them. And not many regulators in that space have then come up with clear regulations to guide, to kind of give a prescriptive approach to how this can be done. I think the third one I'll go to is the low public awareness on cybersecurity threats. And low level of cyber hygiene among the masses in Africa. Now, this looks like it's a people thing, but it affects the regulator, because if you're trying to safeguard the interests of a population that does not know their rights or what their interests actually are, then it becomes a challenge. And so that low public awareness is a big one. There's also a cybersecurity skills gap across the globe, and in the different countries. You'll find some across on the continent have very good levels of cybersecurity professionals, but others also still lagging behind. Now, this puts a lot of inconsistencies in the way we look at it. So going to your second part of the question, asking how we can bridge this gap. I think my take is that we have a wheel that is rolling, so there's no point, there's no need for us to reinvent the wheel in all our 54 odd countries across the continent. The best way to go about this, in my opinion, will be to develop minimum cybersecurity standards and laws that are aligned with international frameworks like, ISO 27001, SOC 2, GDPR, NIST CSF, the CIS CSF. There is enough out there in terms of frameworks that have been proven, have been developed, and have been improved over time that we can leverage on as African countries. So anybody can check, for instance, the ISO framework and do what, and customize it or localize it to their environment, and then use this for themselves. I'm not saying that there's nothing out there in place at a continental level in this space. Of course, we know we have globally the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime, which many African countries have ratified locally. Then closer home in Africa, we have the African Union Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection, what many of us know as the Malabo Convention. Now, these come to give almost a good consistent approach that we can adopt across the continent and have or speak the same language, speak from the same place. But then again, the challenges I mentioned, the aforementioned challenges that I gave, give us that issue that we cannot progress at the same level. So yeah, if we locally adopt, just to answer the second bit of the question, if we adopt in our different countries the different the two conventions that I mentioned, and then the different or the available frameworks, the NIST CSF, CIS CSF, ISO 27001 that I mentioned, and 27,000 series, actually the entire series, and so on and so forth, then we are good. Then I would advocate for creating a framework that promotes cross-border cooperation on cybersecurity issues. Because like on this part of the continent, you see cybercrime activity in one country, say in Kenya, and it takes just a few weeks, hopefully, maybe sometimes months, to track down these guys and deal with them. Then you see the same activity popping up in Uganda or Rwanda or Tanzania. So if we can have a legal framework that promotes cross-border cooperation on cybersecurity issues, then we'll be good. I think those will be my key points around your two questions. Thank you, Femi.
Thank you very, very much, George. So if we move on, right, if we think about the international standards and conventions, right, that exist, Malabo and the Budapest one, right, I think that gives us a structure that we can build on in Africa. So Noe, if I move on to you now, the Malabo and Budapest conventions are pivotal for advancing cybersecurity legislation and harmonizing African strategies, right? We all agree to that. However, what are the major obstacles, right, African nations face in ratifying and implementing these conventions? And how can the continent address these challenges to establish a unified and effective cybersecurity policy?
Thank you very much, Femi. And I think George did a great job at providing the context, noting that these two conventions are established to promote regional and global harmonization, regulatory harmonization, and also foster some kind of cooperation across borders. Now, of course, we know that there are challenges. If you think about the Budapest Convention, right? 65 countries globally have ratified this piece of legislation, six of which are on the continent, and thankfully Nigeria is one of them. When you think about combating cybercrime, right? What are your expectations once it's transnational? And I'd say that the political will and prioritization of cybercrime or cybersecurity in itself is a major challenge, because when you think about some of the issues that governments on the continent need to contend with, they're more social and economic. Whilst we acknowledge that cybersecurity should be prioritized, sometimes they're just unable to do that because of the more challenging issues that they need to deal with. So prioritizing those becomes a bit of a concern. And even where they go ahead to prioritize, there are resource constraints. So you have both financial and human resources by way of, what type of experts do we have locally in the markets? Are we able to foster that level of engagement across multiple countries? Are there people that are available to the government that can help to design the regulatory frameworks and legal instruments that are required for combating cybercrime? And then, just going more deeply into the legal and regulatory frameworks, when we need to have some form of foundation in the very first instance, where there are local cybersecurity laws that are aligned with some of these international conventions that they can build upon, so that there's a harmonized environment across the region or on the continent. And then you have the education. I talked about the human resource challenges. You have the education. What type of formal education and even informal education is available to within our universities that really target cybersecurity and some of those types of issues? And then there's the international cooperation, right? Are the countries best placed to engage on the level? So if you think about where we are in terms of our development on the continent, are we really able to engage at the level of the West with regard to some of these issues? Even though you see some of these challenges emerging from the continent, tackling them is a separate issue. And do we have the resources? Do we have the infrastructure to be able to engage with the West and try to be at par in the way that they are addressing their issues? Now, I think just highlighting the challenges would be insufficient. So maybe thinking about what we could potentially be doing to to advance the conversation a bit more. So building the political will, there's a need to prioritize cybersecurity as a matter of national interest. I think when you think about where we are as a country and some of the challenges, even I think Margaret's opening remarks, she talked about some of those cybersecurity incidents and threats that we're seeing reported in the news more frequently than not, right? There's a need to prioritize this conversation all the way to the top, because it has to be driven from the top. And then I think we need to be a bit more deliberate in the way we are building capacity to be able to address the issues. So regardless of pointing out the issues and figuring out what the solutions are, do we have the capacity to be able to address these issues? And then onto the legal environment, how do we develop the right frameworks, right? I think that there needs to be a lot more engagement with our legislators, right? And in terms of, and this is also building that capacity as well, in terms of how they are designing and, putting frameworks together that could potentially be helping to address these issues. And then raising general awareness across beyond just the people who are developing the legal instruments, but also as a people, right? Leveraging the media on cybersecurity campaigns and how people could be a lot more mindful of the risks, of the threats, and enhancing international cooperation. I think that's very critical, because whilst countries go off individually to try to protect national interests, these international conventions act as a tool that could be used, that could be leveraged by the countries, right, to address the issues locally, but also to foster international cooperation, so transnational cooperation. And maybe just sticking to domestication of some of those conventions and what they potentially mean for countries locally. I think I'll just say that some of these conventions need to be taken more, there needs to be a concerted approach to how they are potentially domesticated. So how do you incorporate some of the provisions within these conventions into national law? So whilst they're developing and drafting some of these legal instruments locally, there has to be a mindfulness to some of those provisions that potentially support these national interests and transnational interests, and incorporating those into national law. And stakeholder engagement, and this is the point I would like to land with. I think going off to do anything individually across, not just on cybersecurity concerns, but across, it's very critical that there has to be some engagement across sectors. There has to be cooperation. There has to be a work that's done together to figure out how to solve for some of the challenges that we see in the cybersecurity space.
Okay, no, thank you very much. Now that it's clear that ratifying these conventions, right, is extremely important for us, I think it would be great to understand what the impact would be on our economy after these conventions have been ratified. So Ikechukwu, over to you. How would the alignment of cybersecurity frameworks across Africa influence digital transformation efforts, particularly in areas such as cross-border data flows, e-commerce, and smart infrastructure? And sorry, one last thing. One last.
Yeah.
Right? It's two questions you have, not one. Okay. And what are also the practical steps, right, that can be taken to ensure the harmonization that supports sustainable development growth?
Okay. Thank you very much. I think the first thing that I'd like to establish is that Africa is becoming more and more connected than ever before. And one of the things that's driving that connection, I mean, we can talk about the Africa Free Trade Agreement, but it's really trade. And at the core of trade, we can, it has evolved to what we can term e-commerce, but it's still trade. And at the core of trade is trust. The trust that the parties in that transaction have between themselves, and the trust that they have in the I would say, the framework, the structure of that negotiation or interaction. And at Cisco, we have this mantra: if it's connected, it must be protected. And so that's the way we look at what's going on right now in Africa in terms of e-commerce and trade, and how we can, drive support in that regard. I would say one of the ways that we're looking at driving progress is, number one, critical infrastructure. It's very important for our partners in the public sector to start to look at how we approach the issues around critical infrastructure. For the first part, broadband access. We need to ensure that people in the rural area have access to broadband connection, but not just broadband in itself. It's more affordable broadband that they can pay for and they can, leverage. And then the next thing after that would be really looking at the devices that we have. Are they up to date? Do they conform to the most recent certifications? That way we ensure that whoever connects on that network or uses that infrastructure is assured of the security of their information and their privacy. And then when we move from that, we go to capacity building. Because when we start to talk about partnering, partnerships between public and private sector, it's very important for the private sector to play a major role in supporting the capacity of public sector in staying up to date with the latest trends in cybersecurity. It's very important. And I think that segues to, when we start to look at cross-border data transfer, because the way cybersecurity works now is, and that's where also AI comes into play, is the AI system requires a lot of data to understand the cyber threats and proactively or preemptively mitigate those threats. And the only way we can do that and do that effectively in Africa is if the African countries allow data to flow. They exchange that data. Some African countries have been able to do that to a large extent. I'll give you an example: Kenya, Rwanda. They found a way in their regulatory frameworks to be able to exchange data amongst themselves. And that has translated to ease of movement, which is the ultimate objective of Agenda 2063. You understand? So somebody from Kenya finds it easier to move to Rwanda and vice versa. And I know there's somebody in this room saying, why can't Nigeria do that with Ghana? We would have to solve the jollof problem first. But I think that's where we need to start looking at, enabling cross-border data transfer and deepening that collaboration based on trust. And I would say, just to close out, the final thing is deeper partnerships, like Noya mentioned, between the public sector and the private sector. But the private sector's role is not to dictate or to prescribe what the public sector should do in terms of regulation and policy. It's more about guiding and just providing that support to drive progress in that regard. And I think that's for me, that's the way I would close it.
Okay, thank you very much, Ikechukwu. Now that you've brought in government into it, right? I think I can move on to Ponel now, right? From a government perspective, how does the harmonization of cybersecurity policies strengthen our national security? How does it foster innovation and enhance Africa's digital competitiveness in the global market? That's one. And the second one is, what role can African governments play in adopting global best practices while addressing the local challenges that we have to achieve these objectives? Ponel, are you still there? Okay, Ponel? Okay, so if he's not around, I'll just move on to the next question to keep our conversation flowing. Just moving on to you now. What are the international standards and best practices that Africa should adopt to enhance security harmonization, drive economic development, and accelerate digital transformation. That's one. The second one is how can organizations like African Union catalyze regional collaboration and alignment with global cybersecurity norms? So those are the two questions we have.
Thank you very much, Femi. And let me just first start by saying happy Thanksgiving. Every last Thursday in November is Thanksgiving in the US. So happy Thanksgiving to you all. And thanks to the American Business Council for putting together this fourth cybersecurity conference. Because I think, firstly, it's very important for us to convene, these kinds of gatherings where we can all sort of share best practices. I mean, we've heard, from IK and from Cisco. We've heard from George and from Yellow Card. We've heard from Nonye, and Microsoft about what they're doing, in terms of just supporting trade, helping to build out the infrastructure. So it's really important that we have these sorts of engagements. And we also, heard from the Special Assistant to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. My agency, USTDA, we also have a lot of partnership building exercises. We have something that we call reverse trade missions, where we take delegations to the US to demonstrate to them the kinds of regulations, legislation, financing, that's available for certain sectors. This year, we did two focused on cybersecurity. In February, we took a delegation from Nigeria and Ghana, to the US. And then in September, we had a delegation from Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, and then from Democratic Republic of Congo. And part of what we did, I think just first of all, on this theme of partnerships, it's essential, I think, from an African perspective for us to be looking at reporting. So maybe I'll start from one of the things that need to be done would be on the reporting side, shared information. So there are entities, or there's an entity called the ISAC, the Information Sharing and Analysis Center in the US. Because our cybersecurity reverse trade mission was focused on the financial services, we engaged with the Financial Services Information Sharing and Analysis Center, FSI-SAC. And what that organization does, they're a nonprofit. They convene, sort of all of the partners who come in and share information. It was very interesting because, we visited JP Morgan, Citibank, these are competitors, in the banking space. We were at Oracle, we visited Cisco, IBM, and a lot of other entities. And all of them actually share information with FSI-SAC. They all report on cybersecurity incidents. They report on all of the latest and all the greatest innovations and the inventions in cybersecurity so that everyone can be aware so that they can strengthen their architecture. In the US, it's taken about 15 years, for them to get to this point where everyone is agreeing to share information, and be on the same page. So, of course, it's not, absolutely perfect, but the FSI-SAC, I think, would be a crucial tool, that kind of self-reporting, if you will. I think African entities need to certainly incorporate that. In terms of the framework, the way that it works, as Nonye mentioned, it all comes from Congress. So there has to be guiding legislation. In the US, there is guiding legislation. There are executive orders. An executive order, for instance, has empowered the Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Securities Agency, CISA, to be able to mandate minimum, levels and minimum standards that equipment has to demonstrate before the US government can actually procure. So not just equipment technologies, let me use that word. So CISA basically highlights, all kinds of technologies that, would be secure for the US government to be able to use. So that's somebody who sort of enforces. But then there's also NIST, the National Institute for Technologies, standards, National Institute for Standards and Technologies, NIST. So NIST provides the frameworks. So there are cybersecurity frameworks that would outline, at a minimum, what your protocols should be, what type of, reporting mechanism you should have, as you report out. So with these types of entities in place, you have NIST, you have CISA. They're not just going with a sort of rules-based approach, to ensuring that, folks adhere to the cybersecurity laws. They're also providing frameworks, and they're going on that sort of principles-based approach where, industry holds themselves accountable. So to have these kinds of agencies where, first of all, you have convening, and then you also have, sort of the regulation and then the reporting is very essential and crucial for, Africa to have that as well. Then, Nonye mentioned something very important, which is on the skills or the capacity building side of things. One thing that NIST does is that they also provide guidance.
I need a clearer audio.
Nigeria, we have 2,000 people because we believe a lot in Africa. We have another 800 people going to 1,000 sitting in Rwanda doing that. And we quickly, basically what we want to do
percent of the companies quoted on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, including 85% of commercial banks, 75% of GSM companies, and leading fintech in the country. He has also serviced clients in over 35 countries. I would like to welcome Mr. Alade Nusi onto stage. Please, a round of applause. Thank you. My next panelist is Honorable Dr. Chukwuemeka Ujam, MNI. I got it, yes. So, Honorable Ujam is an ICT security expert and a highly motivated professional with data design, security management, and networking experience, as well as solid track record in effective project management, solution deployment, and service delivery. With over 25 years of extensive experience covering both public and private organizations, he had excelled at holding offices at the highest level of leadership and decision-making. He has managed projects valued over hundreds of millions of British pounds, not Naira, so imagine what it is today in Naira. He is the managing director of Nina Georgia Limited. And he used to be a member of the House, so which is why I say honorable. It's not that I don't put it there. Honorable, please would like to welcome you to the stage. Thank you. Now, the third panelist is Mr. Abimbola Oweye. Abimbola Oweye is a dynamic leader and a seasoned technology enthusiast, currently serving as the country leader at Dell Technologies, where he spearheads the company's strategic growth and impact in Nigeria, one of Africa's most vibrant markets. With over 18 years of extensive experience in technology industry, Abimbola possesses a deep understanding of hardware, customer relationship management, and key account management. His journey to leadership excellence is marked by commitment to continuous learning and professional development. He completed an executive education program in strategy at Harvard Business School, augmenting his skills in diversing and executing innovative business strategies that drive sustainable growth and competitive advantage. Like I said, Mr. Oweye is the country manager at Dell Technologies. Is he in the house? Yes, he is. Thank you. I actually was looking for you. Thank you. Then we have a panelist. We're in the digital age, so someone always has to be online. Have you not noticed that a lot of times in panels, there's always someone online? So the panelist is Dr. Victor Odumoyiwa. He's online. He's a dynamic and visionary leader in the field of information and communication technology and artificial intelligence, with a passion for driving innovation and fostering collaboration. He is the current director of NIDA IT Hub at the prestigious University of Lagos. He has created a thriving technology ecosystem that brings together academia, industries, entrepreneurs, startups, and investors. By formulating cutting-edge strategies for product development, innovation, and growth, he has positioned the hub as a dynamic center of technological advancements. We would like to welcome Dr. Victor Odumoyiwa, who is the acting director of NID Hub University of Lagos. Okay, if he's not online, he'll be coming online shortly. Then the last and not the least, Mr. Festus Amede, who is the Chairman, Chief Information Security Officers of Nigeria Financial Institutions. He has been with Zenith since January 1997. Out of the over 27 years working experience in the bank, he has spent 17 years in managerial capacity and the Chief Information Service Officer of the bank. He's responsible for the development and management of the bank's cybersecurity program, reporting directly to the executive management and the board. Mr. Festus, please could welcome him with a round of applause. I wanted to say that your years of experience is actually older than me. You know, I'm not up to 27. So I will now hand over to the moderator to lead the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joy. Just to also mention that I'm also not up to 27 years old. All right, I want to appreciate the American Business Council for this very wonderful privilege to moderate this session. It's a very interesting session. We're talking about AI and its impact on information security in Africa. I also want to appreciate the last panel for the very insightful session and our keynote speaker. It's been interesting so far, and I think it's going to get more interesting going talking about AI. The first time I started hearing AI recent, but AI has always been with us. When I read computer science in school, and we did AI in school, we even designed AI solutions. So I was surprised when it became like a buzzword now. Some that 20 years ago were doing AI. And when it started becoming trendy, people were just need to have fancy pictures. So we just changed their pictures about them, you know, and they were saying AI pictures. This is what AI is all about. When we talk about AI around even security, many times it's about how people have been exploited. There was a case that happened in Hong Kong in February this year of a guy that attended a meeting
he got a mail, first of all, his CFO, one of their group office, asked me to pay about $25 million. And he thought it was a fake mail, and he set up a meeting. And there were all his colleagues were in the video conference. It was after he paid, he realized that only the person that was speaking to him there was a hacker. Every other person were deep fakes, fake CFOs, fake everybody. And they were talking like his colleagues. They sounded like his colleagues. It was so believable. And when we talk about AI, many times this is what we hear, and we keep thinking that they are all bad things. But beyond these, there are wonderful things about AI, and I have a very solid panel. I love the panel, actually. These are great guys. I know them, and I think they love it too. You guys know it. All right, so the first question I would like to Festus. Festus, apart from being in Zenith, is also the chairman of the committee of CISOs, on the bank CISOs and on the financial institution CISOs. Festus, what are the pros and cons associated with applying AI in cybersecurity? And also, what are the present limitations in Africa towards AI integration in strengthening cybersecurity frameworks? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, and good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Thank you for the intro. I think you have done some work by speaking to some of the disadvantages of AI. But to lay the context, what is actually AI? But before we start, let me even thank American Business Council for doing this every year. At least it's a very good thing, because cybersecurity is a major concern, and it's just the beginning, especially in our world where we have large population of educated, unemployed youths. So speaking to artificial intelligence, we are speaking to a science that involves the creation of machines that will perform activities that usually associated with human, that require some intelligence. So because today we have digital transformations going on everywhere, especially after COVID, everybody started adopting technology. A lot of data is now being generated. In fact, the data generated in the past 3 years is more than the data we had prior to 2020. So it becomes a major concern, especially to cybersecurity folks. Security tools generate a lot of, even IT solutions generate a lot of data, the logs. If you look at the log of an average firewall, look at the log of an average application, you see that there are a lot of information that need to be processed. And you cannot use eyeballing to actually handle those data. Hence, even though, yes, AI started almost as far back as even 60 years ago, but today there's been a lot of advancement in AI technology. We started with traditional AI. Today, the one that is more common is generative AI. And we're also looking at maybe super narrow AI, and we're also hoping that maybe in 4 years or 5 years, we'll get to the area of artificial general intelligence, AGI. But speaking specifically to AI, what are the major advantages because of the usage in carrying out activities that ordinarily human beings are supposed to carry? What are the major advantages? I think the advantage is inherent in its ability to process large volume of data. The ability to process large volume of data. It makes it very, very faster in cybersecurity response, because attack is increasing by the day. So even in detecting such attack, AI helps you in faster detection. It also helps you to automate response, because like I said, you cannot use traditional means to cope with the digital transformation of these days. So with AI, you can detect information faster, cyber attack faster. You can also automate your response. Of course, efficiency is also something that AI helps us to achieve. unlike human beings, when you are doing a specific task for a very long time, you discover that you will not even like the job again. AI is always available because it works 24/7. It doesn't go on vacation. It doesn't run shifts. It's always there. So availability is key. That's one of the advantages. Also, AI is very, very effective because if you were able to get adequate data, of course, that data, there are a lot of processes you need to follow. You have to define your processes. You have to come up with a strategy, define the processes, and also optimize those data because, like computer, we say garbage in, garbage out. If you feed in wrong data to AI, it will give you wrong results. So in AI technology, you have to make sure that the data you have in it is very, very accurate. And if it has that accurate data, it can help you to optimize all your activities, take away human fatigue, take away human error, take away inefficiencies. Like I said, very, very effective and very fast. But having said that, are there drawbacks that will come from AI? We have said many beautiful things about AI. And of course, it depends on who is actually using AI. Even the fraudsters or the bad guys also use the advantages of AI to carry out their menace. You just spoke about the Hong Kong 25 million deepfake attack that happened earlier last year or so. So with the major disadvantage of AI is actually coming from the usage. And cyber criminal can use AI to do some malicious activity. But what are those advantages that are inherent in AI? Let's look at even the ethical and the privacy laws. Because there are a lot of data, and today we are talking about data privacy coming from NTPR to NTPA. We discover that data is becoming a major concern, data privacy, and how you use people's data. With the data you are feeding to AI, especially for transaction data, which is where AI also plays very, very active role in fraud management, because with AI you can actually deal with fraud to make sure that is patterns, because AI actually learn, then reason and act. So because of that, you also find use in the area of fraud management. But that also comes with some disadvantages, because with AI, the cyber criminals can also learn about your information and carry out cyber attack. They can also optimize their attack simulation. They can simulate attack in seconds. Yes, they can simulate attack like brute force attack and all that. But even with that disadvantage, for a defender, so oftentimes it's a balance, because you are looking at, are you attacking or are you defending? But irrespective of the divide you find yourself, you can actually imbibe or take some of those inherent advantages or the disadvantages of AI to actually optimize what you are doing. But speaking to the privacy concern, when you are generating data, you have to be mindful of, do I need this data or this information to actually produce my report? Yes, it helps you in analysis, because oftentimes when you want to say, I want to see pattern of fraud that I've taken place before. If you don't have the customer's detail, you might find it difficult to do some specific analysis. But that comes with now the risk of exposing customer data, which call for the need for us to define some policy at national level, whereby some policies need to be defined on AI to guide the usage of AI. So apart from that, there's also this here skills. Why people are afraid that, oh, we don't have cybersecurity folks, enough cybersecurity folks. So AI, in one way, looking like, oh, it will automate those repetitive tasks that, especially for the SOC. I think somebody from Techstars was speaking to SOC activity. So you can actually use AI to carry out those activities done by the SOC team. But the problem that comes with that is the fear of loss of job. So there's a valid fear that AI can cause people or can reduce the the number of available employment. But oftentimes I tell people, don't be afraid of challenge that AI will take your job. All AI is asking you is to retool yourself so that instead of doing the mundane tasks, you will now have to relearn and begin now to look at being a robotic engineer. What can you learn differently? How can you ask questions? Because if you don't know the right, if you don't ask the right question, the AI will give you wrong answer. AI also can make people to be very lazy. I remember those days when we are in primary school, we can easily recite 1 times to 20, 20 times 1 to 12. But today, with the advent of calculator, then ask somebody what is 7 times 6. You want to carry calculator to press. So AI will also cause such. It's going to lead us to that setback whereby people just become lazy. Ask your secretary to generate a letter and go to ChatGPT to go and generate a letter. Then that human intuition is missing. And which is another problem because AI is also limited. Yes, it can reason, talking about generative AI. But the issue also is that the intelligence of AI is confined to the set of data you have given it. So creativity will be missing when you are using AI. Then I think your last question has to do, because of time, has to do with the challenge in Africa.
Yes, you can just take it for 1 minute. What are the current limitations in Africa towards AI integration?
So is this one saying?
Okay, the few challenges I see has to first of all do with knowledge gaps. Because for you to actually take advantage of AI technology, we need to learn.
That's what I told you that is HD2. The cable is a USB port.
So there is need for that increase in.
You connect it to the other edge.
Then we also have to look at one of the challenges is lack of frameworks for AI implementation because we need some framework to guide what we do. Otherwise, the cyber
you see the cable inside that sound card. Plug that one at the back of the sound card. Then the USB port, plug it inside the laptop by your left
I was very
side.
happy you said the context for what the AI is. Some people may not actually have that context. As come here today,
You should ask them if they have short wire. There is stuff here that is true.
All right, so I'm going to Dr. Victor. I know that Dr. Victor is.
Tell her that wireless audio receiver.
Dr. Victor, yes, I want you to double click on something that first
She knows it.
mentioned.
She should pull battery
Talking about AI
and take earpiece and go and test it on the sound
We
place.
don't want AI to take our jobs the same way Trump doesn't want their jobs to be taken. They've all taken our jobs. We don't want that.
Don't let me talk now because we are shout
we see that across
I
sectors
swear it's
where
2,000 I'm
there is
giving out today.
that it will impact employment opportunities and the labor market. So what does the future hold for skilled cybersecurity experts in Africa, even with the adoption of AI-driven security solutions? Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Once again, let me thank everybody and thank the organizers, ABC, for organizing this event. I'm Victor Muyiwa from West of Lagos. I would say that AI is not taking job, but AI is creating new jobs. And AI will only take jobs away from those that are not updating themselves. So it's only those who don't know how to use AI that will lose their job. For people that know how to use AI, they're going to have more opportunities. So this rhetoric or this discussion that maybe AI will take jobs is not true because remember, several years back, skill sets that people were selling in terms of secretariat work was typing. That you can type fast. That was a skill set we were selling. That doesn't make any sense again. That is not the skill set for today. And the same thing, like the other day, for the first panelist said, I want to say that generating letter or maybe your agency is not going to be a skill set again. So for me, I don't even say problem with that AI can replace that because we are having other problems, bigger problems that we need to solve as humans. So I think AI is going to make us more productive. The same with calculator K and mathematics. I mean, some things was reduced. We're able to focus on other problems and just to focus on how to solve everything manually. That is the same thing that AI is doing. AI is going to enhance our productivity. It's not going to take a job, it's going to take jobs from those that are not ready to advance and to learn new things and to see the new problems of today and see how they can participate in solving those problems. Those are the people that may lose their jobs. But AI is creating more opportunities, more jobs. We have so many roles in AI that we don't have people that are competent to take. So there are so many opportunities. Like several years back, we said IT, what do you call it again? We said digital literacy. It's not about digital literacy again. We're talking about AI literacy. If you're not AI literate, you will be forgotten like those people that are not digital literate. So that is the way we are going. So I think the only thing we just need to do, because seeing the power of AI today, and also like currently I'm in a conference, we're hosting a conference on AI for the past 3 days. And one of the presentations that was given by the Commission of Health yesterday is about synthetic biology that is going on. And so those are the areas that we very careful now, because AI can give so much capability in terms of now trying to create life in some form. Let me just put that in some form. And that is where without any regulation, without any things to. But in terms of what is regular things we do, that shouldn't be our focus that machine can do for us. I think AI is good to do that, and we'll focus on more important problems. But in terms of things that cannot destroy life, I think that's where we need regulations to be able to curb and control those people doing the researches that can create such things, and those people creating solutions that can create such problems. So that's why we need more control, so that we don't create monsters that cannot control the future. So that's what I think. But in terms of what that representative saying, I think AI is going to make us more productive. And what I think that also implies is that we should change the way we are training people. Our training is no longer about how do you memorize things, because it's not needed again. You can do that in primary school, but our training is about problems around you and the problems of the future. Do you have capacity to be able to digest those problems, be able to dissect them and be able to provide solutions? So problem solving, critical thinking, not just use AI, because AI is limited by the data set and the train of solution, which has been said. But there are still more problems are coming every day. So critical thinking, so those are things should be the focus. And when we begin to create people that have problems solvers, they won't see AI as problem. They will see how to use AI to solve problems. That's what I would like to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Victor. Please, I will come back. I will ask one more question again. I want you talked about being AI literate.
Are you still there? Are you back?
So, the
person talking did not on his camera. I hope you know. So he doesn't want to
something. So the first thing is to understand what AI means. Like first time, said he defined AI for us. AI is just like we are trying to. The way that they put it this way, the way baby learn is when they point their ball and
the person's camera.
Like they see fire, they like it. They see it's golden. They want to touch it and they burn them and they move their hand. They see something sweet, they put in their mouth and they like it. So that's the same thing. The machine will give machine data like, okay, so this data, this is what it means. And it begin to learn. If I bring 25 different types of microphone, I can tell AI, this is a microphone. So you will say, okay, this is a shape, this is another shape. It tries to update its mathematics model behind it to know what a microphone look like. They make common features of microphone. That's when you bring another thing, it will tell you whether it's a microphone. But times make mistakes. So that's about testing the accuracy. So that is what AI is. So we try to understand that with AI is on data to understand the patterns in data, and from there now you can be able to infer other things that are about the future or other predicting or either predicting or classifying whatever. So from the data you can learn something. That's the first thing. Just have general.
See the audio you're checking.
Dr. Victor, seems we can't hear him again, but I picked the first point. When you see fire, just like a baby trying to touch it, so there's some AI fire. If you touch and whatever happened to you, please go back to Dr. Victor, assistant advice. Okay, I'm coming to Dr. John. This is the last two.
Hello, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry,